What's up, everyone? Good evening. Oh, we're hot. It's great. Hey, I'm Parker. I am the site director at our Mason site. If you are tuning in from a different site, maybe you're in Kentucky or Ohio, all the way up to Columbus, wherever you are, maybe you're on YouTube and you're watching this from a coffee shop or from your bedroom, I want to say welcome to Crossroads students. I'm glad you're here tonight. It's going to be a great time. Really excited to wrap up this series as we're talking about justice. All right, so before we get started, I just want to define what justice is. When we're talking about justice, we're talking about wrong things being made right. All right? Everyone say wrong things made right. Wrong things made right. Yeah, that's justice, right? That's what we're talking about. But before we get into that, before we get into like all that means and what that means for us, I want to tell you guys a story. And to do that, we have to go back in time, all right? So I need to get like in my little time machine, and we're going to go back in time. Are you guys ready? All right, let's go. What does a time machine sound like, by the way? What does that sound like? Okay, ready? We're gonna get back in time. Ready? All right, we're back in time. We're here. We're in the past. This is my freshman year of high school. Any freshmen in here? Yeah, all right, cool. So I was on the football team, all right? And one day, we decided, me and like some of my friends, these guys are like the captains of the football team, they decide that this other teammate we have sucks, right? Like he sucks, he's the worst. We don't like this dude. He's a little like cocky, he's a little arrogant, right? He brags on himself, but we decide that he's the worst. And one of my other friends, who's one of these captains, says, hey, here's the plan. What if tonight you guys come over, we do a little sleepover, a little slumber party, but when we do that, we'll like sneak out and we'll go and we'll TP this dude's house. And I was like, bet, let's go. So pumped. Like, are you kidding me? Like the best people on the team ask me to hang out. We're gonna go do this. It's great. And it feels good because it's like, that guy sucks, not me, right? That guy sucks, not me. So I go over there and we do that. And guys, we don't even just TP this guy's house. We grab like everything we can find from their house and we bring it with us. So we're like TPing. We're throwing eggs. We threw like frozen fish on this dude's roof. I don't know, anything we had from this guy's house. We're just like making it happen, making it rain. And it's so fun. It's so fun. And we have so much stuff that like we start walking back to his house and we hit like a couple other houses on the way. And it's like the best time. Hanging with the boys, just like wrecking lives. So fun, so good until the cops show up. The cops showed up. We got busted. And I got served a cold, hard plate of justice. All right, so me and my friends got 2 weeks of house arrest, and we were on probation for 6 months because of this whole like vandalism thing. Someone's window apparently got broken in the process. We had to pay for that. We got justice, right? Like we got what we deserved. That wrong was made right. And we want justice. We know when we see injustice, like we know it. Your generation specifically, you care about justice way more than any generation in the past. And you know that there's a lot of really good stuff in the world, but there's also a ton of really broken, awful things in the world. Like it doesn't take long to do, like I did just a quick Google search, right? Here's some stats I found, right? There are 40 million human trafficking slaves in the world. 40, that's like 4 times the population of Ohio. 40 million human trafficking slaves in the world. Okay, another one. 2.2 billion, with a B, 2.2 billion people, that's 1/3 of the planet, don't have access to clean water. Don't have access to clean water. Think how much water you waste. Like some of you guys, you took like a 45-minute shower this morning, just waste of water. Like half the planet, 1/3 of the planet doesn't have access to clean water. Or in America, there are 50 million Americans who don't have enough food. 50 million Americans, but we throw away 60 million tons of food every year. We throw it away, but there's 50 million people that don't have enough food. Like things are broken, they're messed up, and it's overwhelming, right? Like what can I do? Like what can I actually do to fix things in the world? Can anything actually be done? And if there's a good God, like why would he allow this? Why would he let this happen? Why would he be okay with this? Why doesn't he do something about this, right? Why doesn't he do something about the brokenness in the world? And the crazy thing is like outside of Jesus, outside of the worldview that Jesus gives us, there isn't like a reason. There's no reason why we should seek justice. There's no reason why we should care about this stuff. There's no reason for what we can do about this stuff, because outside of Jesus and what he brings to our lives, like some people actually are born better, right? Some people are born to better families. They have more advantages. They're better looking. They can like sing really well. Like that's how things are. So what can we do? What can we do? So to do that, we're gonna have to go back to the beginning, all right? We're going back to the beginning. We're going to get back in the time machine. You guys ready? What was the sound we picked for time machine? Meow. It just sounds like a car at that point. It's not really that creative. Meow. Okay. Meow. Cat. Okay. Let's get our time machine. Ready? Meow. All right. We're back in time. Guys, this is the beginning. This is Genesis chapter 1. This is the beginning of the Bible. This is the beginning of our stories. Beginning of history. All right. So what do we see there? There's God, and he creates this really, really good world. And there's order. And there's like rivers flowing through a garden, and there is beauty, and there's right relationships, and there's abundance, right? Like everyone has enough. There's no injustice. And humans, us, are God's special, chosen people. And there's one more thing. I'm going to go grab it real quick. In the middle of all this is a tree, okay? Hopefully it looks better than this tree. This is like kind of like a, I don't know, it's not a great tree, but I'm sure it looked better than that. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. I wasn't there. But there's a tree, and this tree is a choice. It's a choice like, will we trust what God has set up for us? Will we trust his definition of good and evil and right and wrong and justice and injustice, or will we define that on our own? Will we take and define that on our own? Guys, see, God has so much respect for you and I, for humanity, that he lets us live however we want. And he gives us this choice. And it says in Genesis 1 that humans are made in the image of God. They're made in the image of God. We're not just like lizards that evolved. We're not just like some super cool animal, but we have been given dignity and responsibility and authority, and we've been given a spirit. Like, this is the highest view of human life that there is out there. Any idea that you have or our society has about people being made equal is copied from this right here. This is the only place. No other worldview, philosophy, religion, whatever it is, has this high a view of who humans are and what they're capable of, right? Like even in America. In America, we're like, all men are created equal. If you're like white, European descent man, then you're created. Like, we don't have a definition for this outside of Jesus. We do not have this. And so this tree is this choice. Right? It's this choice. Will we trust God in his definition of justice and what's right and wrong? Will we trust that he will provide, or will we take that and define it on our own? And this is the world we live in. Like, I really think that it's actually this simple. I think if you look at all the injustice in the world, that's people not trusting that there's enough, not trusting that God is good, and going and taking more than what they're allowed, right? Taking more than what they've been given. It's not honoring the dignity of people made in God's image. It's not honoring them as being made in the image of God. So simply put, guys, when we talk about injustice is when you disadvantage other people for your own benefit, for the benefit of yourself, right? When we disadvantage other people for the benefit of ourselves. And even going back to like my story in freshman year, right? When I'm with the boys, we're like throwing fish on people's roofs. Even then, like me and all my friends, at their core of it, we decided that this other person like wasn't worth honoring, right? That they actually weren't made in the image of God, and they're not worth showing dignity to, and that we want to define what's good and what's not good, right? Like, we know we shouldn't have done that, but we want to decide what's right and what's wrong. Like, think back. Close your eyes real quick. Close your eyes. Think back to the worst moments of your life. Do they involve you reaching beyond what you knew was okay? Do they involve you dishonoring someone or using them to get what you want? Do they involve you robbing and taking something from someone else to get your own? Or maybe it's an injustice done to you. Right? Does that involve someone taking something from you that you didn't give them permission to take because they want that? Guys, the Bible's explanation for why the world is the way that it is this is it. This is what it is, and if we're honest, it's scary accurate. It's scary accurate, and it breaks God's heart because he knows what we're capable of. He knows what we're made in. He knows what we're made for, and he knows how good we can be, and it breaks his heart when he sees this injustice in the world. All right, let's fast forward again. Let's time travel again. One last time. Are we ready? Ready to go? Meow. All right, we just time traveled. We are now at the end, okay? We're at the end of the Bible. We're at the end of our story. We're at the end of all things. In the Bible, it's called the book of Revelation. And you guys know what you see? You know what you see when you go there? You see order. and you see rivers running through a garden, right? You see right relationships. You see abundance where everyone has enough. You see every tear wiped away. You see every injustice made right, and you see humans are God's special chosen people, right? His creations. And you know what else you see at the very end? I gotta go get it. Hold on, let me go get this one. Check, sir. Oh, here we go. We got another tree. Yay! Tree! Yay. That one's also ugly. Guys, well, it doesn't have a name. It's just tree. It's just tree. Friends, you and I live in between the trees. We live in between the trees. You ask, like, man, why doesn't God do something about the brokenness in the world? Like, why doesn't he make it right? Because to make it right, he would have to deal with the source of all the brokenness in the world, and that's us. Like, he would have to get rid of us, right? But he doesn't, because he's so committed to us. He's so loving with us, and he wants to see us become the people that we were always meant to be. See, in church, we get this idea that following Jesus is just like, this life is just a waiting room, right? You're a waiting room, you know like what's coming down the road, and you're kind of in this waiting room, right? Or like Jesus is your ticket to a better life somewhere else, and one day we'll fly away, maybe in our time machines, to this magical place, and everything will be so good, right? But like, that's not the person of Jesus. Jesus shows up, and he's got all the authority. He has all the power, he has all the status, he has all the glory, all the things that we hurt each other over, all the things that we run after and like bring injustice on people. He has all of that, and he uses none of it for himself. Like, none of it. He shows up and he serves, and he gives himself to people, and he heals people. And he tells people that actually when you are like at your lowest, when you're broken, when you're poor, when you are grieving, like you're actually blessed. That to be great actually means to serve, that the greatest person is the one who serves the most and gives themselves up for other people. And then we have the cross. Friends, the cross is the greatest injustice in human history. You have Jesus, who, as Joel says, is God in a bod. It's cute saying. Guys, God in a bod. He comes here. He spends years serving and loving and teaching and healing and like ministering to these people, and the same people arrest him, beat him within an inch of his life, hurl insults at him, spit on him, and then crucify him and murder him in the most humiliating and embarrassing way ever. Guys, God experienced the worst that humanity could do in that moment, and in that he took all of the worst of the judgment. He took all of that onto himself. Guys, if injustice is disadvantaging other people for your own benefit, on the cross, God himself disadvantaged himself for everyone else. Gives up everything for everyone else. So like, why doesn't God do something about the brokenness in the world? Why doesn't he do something about all these things, these stats we just looked at, the brokenness in my own life? Why doesn't he do something about it? Because he already has. He's already done it. Guys, he's taken it onto himself. He's dealt with death. He's opened up a path to this other tree, this beautiful tree right here. He's opened up a path, and he invites all of us once again to be God's special, chosen representatives here on earth. He's taken care of death, and he's come to kill the idea that you and I ever had to earn anything, that there wasn't enough to go around, that we need to chase and steal and borrow and hurt people to get love and to get acceptance. And he's freed us on the cross so that we can go and start freeing other people. We can go free other people. His followers one day, they're like, Jesus, like, what should we pray for? What should we be after? What should we be looking for in life? And he says, pray that God's kingdom would come here on earth as it is in heaven. Jesus is telling his followers that this reality, these like beautiful realities where things are made whole and they're good, that's available right now. That's available here and now in your life. And he's inviting us to be those same people, to live in that reality right now. There's this guy named Paul, and he was this early follower of Jesus. And he's meeting with these Christians, and they're trying to figure out, like, how do we follow Jesus? Like, what does this mean? How do we do this? How do we, like, live this out? What do we do? And he's trying to help them. He's trying to explain this to them. And here's what he says. He writes this in the letters to Galatians. He says, don't be misled. You cannot mock the justice of God. You will always harvest what you plant. Those who live only to satisfy their own sinful nature will harvest decay and death from that sinful nature. Those who live to please the Spirit will harvest everlasting life from the Spirit. So let's not get tired of doing what is good, and at just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. Therefore, whenever we have the opportunity, we should do good to everyone, especially to those in the family of faith. We have this really toxic lie that's like infiltrated our lives, that our decisions, the things that you and I do, like don't matter, that they don't have consequence. That's mocking the justice of God. Guys, me and my friends did not think we were gonna get caught. We did not, we were like, what is gonna happen? We're just having fun, it's fine, right? It's fine. We believe that like our actions, what happens in between these two trees, like they don't matter. They don't have consequences. I'm just doing my thing, like it's fine, I'm good. But there's this ancient idea that a person's good deeds are like seeds. They're like seeds, and when we honor others, when we forgive, when we serve, when we love, when we put others first, we're planting trees that will become the trees of Eden, of heaven later. Like Paul says, you are planting something. You are. You're planting destruction and chaos and brokenness, or you're planting these kingdom seeds. You're planting what is good. You're planting something that reflects God's goodness. And so you and I, living in between these two trees, we have the same choice. We have the same choice that there's always been all the way back here. Will we trust God's definition of what's good? Will we trust God's definition of what's right and wrong? Will we trust that God has enough for us? Guys, will we trust that God is a generous, loving Father and he's going to provide for us, or will we not? Will we go and take for ourselves? Will we go try and find that on our own? So what are you planting? Like, are you planting destruction? Are you planting seeds of heaven? Are you planting something that's eternal, that's going to go on for forever? And as Jesus followers, we live to see the world made right, not because like it makes us feel good inside. It feels so good to serve people. Not because like we can post about it later, right? And put a filter on of like, I'm praying for this person, right? Not because it's morally right. Not because it's like makes us feel really good about ourselves. It's because it's who God is and who he's called us to be from the very beginning. The early church did this. Like the first followers of Jesus, there would be like an earthquake that would destroy a town, or there'd be a pandemic that came through. And the early followers of Jesus would be the ones to rush into that. They would run into those scenarios, oftentimes like giving up their own lives, because they knew this is who our God is and this is who he's called us to be. Like I'm free from my fear of death. I'm free from my need to like measure up and go chase after it and try to like find it on my own. I'm free from that, so I need to go free other people. God isn't asking you to change poverty. He's not asking you to end like extreme hunger tomorrow. He's not asking you that. But he's asking you to look at your life and find places in your life that are broken and chaotic and destroyed, and go bring goodness and plant seeds that will become the trees of Eden. It's being generous, it's sacrificing, it's putting other people in front of yourself and loving people, even if it's at an expense of your own. Guys, we know how the story begins. We know how the story ends over here, and so we're left with this choice of what are we doing today that will last forever? Your life is planting something, and what is it planting? Is it planting kingdom fruit? Is it planting destruction and chaos? That's my challenge to you today. Look at your life and see, what are you planting with your life? Are you even being intentional? Even coasting, even autopilot is death, it's destruction, even just coasting. God is calling you to be the image of God, because that's what you were created to be from the beginning, and that's what you will be for eternity, and you can be that now. Let me pray for you guys. God, you are so good. You are so good that you don't give up on us. You don't give up on us even when we do the worst to each other, even when we hurt each other beyond measure. You don't give up. You didn't give up on the cross, and you don't give up on us now. God, you have more things for us. You have more things for us to do. You have a plan for us. You have moments in our lives specifically carved out for each and every one of us to do. And I pray that today we can say yes to that. We can say yes to who you've created us to be and start planting seeds that will become the trees of Eden. That we can start doing things now that will go on for forever. God, thank you for inviting us into your kingdom. Thank you for inviting us into your story. And we say yes. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
All right, thanks for watching. If you like what you heard, we have more content for you on our YouTube channel if you want to subscribe, and make sure to check us out on Instagram for everything that's coming up.